Spoiler alert for you. The spray and pray approach to sending resumes out by the hundreds is not the most effective means for landing that next position. My name is Bill Benoist. I'm a certified professional career coach here in Silicon Valley. And in today's video, what I want to do is I want to share with you a technique to identify recruiters in specific industries that you may be targeting and get on their radar, to have them look at your profile and possibly call you in if they have some job openings. So it's a neat way to do this. It's very easy. And I think it's an extremely effective way to start your networking process, because the bottom line is this: you need to develop your network. That's what's going to help you land that next position. So let me share some numbers with you. These are really important numbers. First off, and this one is mind-boggling, there are 55 million companies that are currently represented in the LinkedIn database. Why is that mind-boggling to me? Because a couple of years ago I did a video like this and there was only 30 million. It's almost doubled in size. Here's another statistic that you may find mind-boggling. In February of 2022, there were over 14 million job listings in LinkedIn. Now, another statistic, this one you may have heard of, I've heard of this over the years, 87% of recruiters will leverage LinkedIn in searching for and sourcing candidates to fill positions. So these are some important numbers that you need to keep in mind, especially if you're not leveraging LinkedIn the way you should be. And by the way, if you're not leveraging LinkedIn, I do have a free training on my website. It covers the resume, it covers LinkedIn, it covers interviewing. The training itself is about an hour and 20 minutes long. Again, completely free. I'll leave a link in the upper right hand corner for this. So what we want to talk about today is how to identify recruiters in industries. So as mentioned just a second ago, there's 55 million companies currently listed in LinkedIn. But of those 55 million companies, as of 2021, there was only 148 industries that they fell into. And I do have a list of the most current industries, well, at least that I believe, in the notes section below. You can click on that and download it so you can follow along with this video. So let me show you how we can leverage LinkedIn to find recruiters in these industries. Just opened up my LinkedIn homepage, and this should look familiar if you have a LinkedIn account. And by the way, I hope you have a LinkedIn account because of how valuable this resource is. What I want you to do, and also you do not need to have a premium version of LinkedIn. You don't have to have a paid version of LinkedIn. You can follow along with a free version. What you want to do is go over here to this search field, and we're going to type in the title of the type of individual we're looking for. So in this case, I'm going to be putting in recruiter. But you know what? You could put in CEO, Chief Executive Officer, you could put in Director of Human Resources, whatever title that you're zeroing in on. In this case, I'm going to use recruiter because that's what this video is about. So I've typed in recruiter. I'm going to go over here and click on people. And I want you to notice that I have 2 million results. In other words, there's about 2 million individuals out there on LinkedIn that have recruiter somewhere in their LinkedIn profile title. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to all filters. I'm going to click on this, and we get this pop-up here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where it has industry, and you see that there's already a couple of pre-populated fields, but I'm going to go ahead and add one. So looking at the list here, I'm going to use, for example, biotechnology. I'm going to type in bio, and you notice that I don't even type in the T yet, and we have this populated. So I can click on biotechnology, and we'll click on show results, and let's see what happens to this 2 million results. It just dropped it down to 6,000. So now what we know is there's about 6,000 individuals out there who are recruiters in the biotechnology industry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to location. Imagine for a moment that I am looking for recruiters in the biotechnology industry in Charlotte, North Carolina. What I'll do is I'm going to click on add a location. I'm going to type in Charlotte. We have Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm going to click on that and we'll hit show results. Let's see what happens to the 6,000 number. Dropped it down to 21 results. Now, not all of these are going to be valid. We have to go through and really kind of select which ones, but let's just take a look at this. So Lindsay Wright right here, Human Resource Corporate Recruiter at Octapharma Plasma Inc. And this is in the Charlotte metro area. What I can do now is I can go ahead and click on Lindsay. I have two options. I have two options because I do have the LinkedIn Premium version. So my first option is I could message her, and this is called an in-mail. So an in-mail is like very similar to just sending a regular email. I have a subject area here. I could write a extensive email, cover letter. I can even attach my resume to it. But here's the thing, I do not advise doing this, and here's the reason why. What is Lindsay's primary responsibility? Her primary responsibility is to find candidates for positions at her company. So what you want to do is you want to get into her database, and one of the best ways to do this is by connecting with her, not sending her an email. And not only that, but these in-mails, because number one, you have to have the premium version unless you're a first connection with the individual. Then you can message them. But chances are you're not going to be first connections with these recruiters. So, having only between 3 and 5 in-mails a month and doing this exercise here, you can go through them very quickly. And it's probably not the most effective way. What I would suggest doing is actually connecting with this recruiter. If I go, instead of doing the message, I click on the More button and you see Connect. Now, with this, follow Lindsay. I'm not going to follow her. I'm going to connect with her and I'm going to add a note. This becomes very important. You want to make sure that you add a note. Now, you only have 300 characters, but there is a lot you can say with 300 characters. It's only about 2.5, 3 sentences. But let me show you what we can do with just 300 characters. So how does this sound? Hi Lindsay, I see from LinkedIn you are a recruiter for Octapharma Plasma. I am a project manager in the biotechnology industry with more than 15 years experience. I am currently exploring new opportunities and would like to get on your radar for any current or future opportunities. I still have 13 characters left, and yet I have just done a concise message to Lindsay, a recruiter, as to why I am sending a connection request to her. So you may be asking yourself, well, what are the odds that Lindsay's going to accept my connection request? Well, ask yourself, what is her primary responsibility? It's to fill positions within that company. She very well may not have any openings right now, but this is where sending a connection request is more effective than, say, sending an in-mail. With an in-mail, again, you're lucky if your resume even makes it to a applicant tracking system. It probably is just an email that's going to be deleted. But a connection request, imagine for a moment that a week later, Lindsay has an opening for a project manager position. What I said earlier in this video, 87% of recruiters will leverage LinkedIn to source candidates. So what is Lindsay likely going to do? She's going to open up her LinkedIn profile and she's going to go over here to the search button, but instead of typing in recruiter, she's going to be typing in project manager. This is exactly what the recruiters will do out there. And she'll hit enter. And she's going to put in some keywords now. And then she's going to do a search on this. She'll go to people. She will click on her location, and guess who comes up in this list? It's going to be her first connections, and you're one of her first connections. So she could come up with hundreds and hundreds of candidates, but by you connecting with her directly, you're going to be one of the first in the list. Now, here's another way LinkedIn is extremely powerful, especially when you're connecting. Imagine for a moment that Lindsay doesn't have any openings, but she's connected with another recruiter in the same industry but with a different company, and they have an opening for a project manager. Now, you don't know about that company, you don't know that recruiter doesn't know you, but you have something in common. You're connected with Lindsay, and that recruiter is connected with Lindsay. So that recruiter goes out and starts doing a search using the same, keywords Lindsay did. You're not going to come up as a first connection, but guess what? You're going to come up as a second connection, and that means you're going to come up very high in their search results. So this is how you can leverage LinkedIn for looking for recruiters in the industries that you're targeting. So I hope you found this video informative and useful, and if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, hit that bell notification, as I do upload new career tips and strategies every Tuesday, and I hate for you to miss anything. Thanks for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.